Well, g'day viewers. Right, as you can see, I've basically filled the entire body now. Still got the bonnet to do. And move on from the basic filling now and start on what I call the second stage of filling, or the way I do it anyway, on a big job like this anyway. On a a smaller job where you're just doing a little bit here, a little bit there on a car. You just do the whole thing with 80 and be done with it. But on a job like this, you'd just be here forever trying to do it all with 80 grade. And so that's why I've been doing it. Doing the whole thing with the 40. Been using this call it fireboard, speed file, and that's the same sheet of paper I put on there. It's still reasonably sharp. Starting to clog a little bit now, and that's the advantage of buying your paper from paint supplies, not a hardware. Stuff you get your regular hardware shops, just rubbish. Just goes blunt real quick, tears, whatever. It's really worth the time to go to the paint supplies and get some decent paper. Anyway, as I said, so I've got a process, and I only sort of learnt this recently too. Your putty goes quite hard after an hour or so, and especially you don't want to put putty on and then leave it till the next day to rub it. It just becomes really, really hard. So what I've sort of learnt to do, and said I've only sort of recently learnt this too, is let it set. And as soon as it's set enough to not clog your paper up, you start rubbing it, and it comes off real quick, real easy, like especially with a 40 grade. And of course that can be a disadvantage too, because it's only like a few strokes between not taking enough off and taking too much off, and especially when you fill the whole thing and you've got a couple of low spots and then you refill it. That can work to your advantage, because you can scrub off the new bit quite easy without taking too much off what you've already got in the right shape. So and it can be a disadvantage too, because as I said, you can also make that low spot back into it, turn it back into a low spot really easy. It's only a few strokes between being right and being low, or being still too high. So there's a couple of places here where I've filled the low spot and then rubbed too much off and then have to refill it again. So, but basically, as I said, we've pretty much got it all in shape now. It's really difficult to get it perfect with it, near impossible to get perfect with the 40 grade. And as I said, because there's only a stroke or two in between, not taking enough off and taking too much off. And the other thing too is when you feel it, all you initially feel is all scratches from the 40 grade. So you really got to try and train yourself to feel the shape, the highs and lows, and ignore the scratches. And anyway, I said I'm got it all pretty much done by the bonnet. A little bit of sand to go. I've left that because I want to do that with the orbital. I'll take it outside. The orbital just throws a mega amount of dust in the air, so I might do that in the shed. A little bit more to rub down there, that'll be done by hand. But I'll just run over this quickly with the orbital. Take a little bit more off that. As I said, it's just that little bit too high. But basically, we got all done by the bonnet now. This is the sander I was speaking about. It's very old. It's a half sheet stayer, so it's quite heavy, and yeah, it can make your arms tired pretty quick, especially like if you're doing it on a vertical vertical surface. Yeah, if you're doing it flat like on a bonnet or something, it's not an issue, but yeah, the weight of it can be a problem. The weight of it also doesn't give you as much control as what you get with just doing it with a board. But yeah, I had to taking the guard off, finish that. That's not even close to being perfect, but yeah, that's as good as it's going to get. And so under the guards would just be getting brush painted with some thick flat black paint, so that's plenty good enough for under there. So, but yeah, what I've done here, you notice it's a little bit greenish instead of being a goldish colour, and yeah, it's because I've used a different colour hardener. Same putty, just used a blue hardener instead of a red hardener. And I just sort of like it to be different colour, so I know when I'm rubbing through it and when I'm hitting the other putty. I mean, you're still, in places, you're still rubbing the original putty off, but at least you know where you're rubbing it off and where you're not rubbing it off. And yeah, because I'm doing this now with an 80 grade. I'm using this on the curved surfaces. This is a rubber block. It's got two different. It's a slightly harder rubber on the one side than the other. It's called concave. That's from wet rubbing it. It's just, yeah, the harder rubber's shrunk more than the soft rubber, but that's sort of an advantage anyway, you know. So because I'm doing an outer curve, having this being already curved is sort of helpful anyway. Yeah, so that's what I'm using on the curved surfaces. When I get to the flatter areas, I'll start using this. This is a plasterboard sander. Most of your hardwares have got these. Really good. Because they take a half sheet of paper. They got a fairly thin rubber backing, so it stays fairly flat, but it's a little bit cushioned at the same time. Clamps that hold the paper on. Yeah, I really like that. That's me number one for sanding big areas, and yeah, I've had that for a long time. I bought that when I was building the house, and it's going back 15, 18 years or something now, and I bought that. Yeah, it's plasterboard sander. So what I've done is I've made up I've thinned my putty down, made like a cream filler, and I've heard of other people doing this, so this is the first time I've ever tried, and it does work. So I get out a bit of putty and I just mix acetone with it, just a little bit at a time until I get the consistency I want. And yeah, because you do that before you put the hardener in, and then you got to sort of remember how much initial putty you put out, because it's going to grow as you thin it. So you don't want to be like adding the amount of hardener to what you've mixed to a bigger a bigger amount of putty, because then it's going to go off too hard, so too quick. So yeah, you only remember how much putty you got out, so you know how much hardener to put with it. But yeah, this is not quite as nice as the cream fillers that I've bought, but yeah, it does the job, does it well enough. And yeah, so it's all now. It's now ready for some high build primer. The high build primer goes straight over the 80. And yeah, the high build primer will refine it even more, get out discrepancies that are within like a millimetre or so. And yeah, once I get down to a finer grade of paper, I'll rub the initial. Once I got the primer on here, thick coat of primer, and then I'll start wet rubbing it. I'll guide coat it, and I'll start wet rubbing it, and I'll do it initially with probably about a 240 wet, and yeah, and then I'll coat it again with primer, and then do it with a 400. and yeah, guide coat both times. But yeah, so there's sort of a few different stages to getting it right. And yeah, but as I said, we're on our way now. Got areas down here. This is still a bit lumpy, and I can't really hit metal there. And there's a framework under that, and there's also a welded joint in the panel, so I can't knock it down any further. So the only way to get rid of that lump is to build it up around it, like from here to here now. Build that up higher. Well, not much, a mil or so, until I can get it the shape without, the metal sticking up. And yeah, the filler, your high build filler is good for that too, because you're spraying, it'll go on probably 3 mil thick, 2-3 mil thick. Like you don't thin it at all. You just spray it straight out of the can, mix your hardener with it, and and spray it straight out of the can. You got to turn your pressure up and your fan down, and you get it real close, and you layer it on. You'll get a few runs here and there, which doesn't make any difference. Doesn't really matter. You got to rub it all anyway. So, but yeah, I use the primer as a filler as well. So yeah, just to get rid of the finer discrepancies, and as I said, and use it also to sharpen my lines up and things like that. Don't attempt to, I've said this before, but don't attempt to fill with acrylic primer, even if it says it's a high build. It doesn't work. As soon as you put your top coat on it, the thinners in it will soften it up and it'll reform the shape underneath, and it's just a waste of time. It doesn't work. So if you're going to fill with primer, you have to get a 2-pack primer. So, under here, I'll lift this up. Another thing I'm going to do here, which I can't do just yet anyway. Can't do it because I haven't got the right. I've only got cheapy masking tape, and putty will stick to it. But I'll clean that up underneath, and I'll mask the whole undersurface with tape. I'll get some, the blue or the green masking tape. So it's more plastic than paper, so that the putty doesn't stick to it that well. And even if it does stick to it, it's usually a low tack type paper anyway, so it'll still pull away from the bonnet. You won't have any issues with that. But so I'll mask that right up, because I'm going to finish screwing this chunk off it here, and take these dags off that are all the way along here, and then I'm going to fill this whole area. Make sure I don't put too much hardener in it. Do one side at a time, and while it's still fresh and soft, and got the bonnet taped up, and I'll fully close the bonnet. Probably pull it down with hockey strap as well, just to make sure it's closed fully. Got a bit of pressure on it, and let that set, and then I'll have the exact shape of the bonnet in here. It'll match it exactly. So so that's the next step with that. I did get my other strut on. Had a bit of an issue with this side too. I found, because I had the mount sort of welded on the outside edge here, so I brought it out another 1/4 inch or so, and found it was hitting on the hinge, and I tried sort of bending it a little bit and whatever, and adjusting it, and just couldn't get it to clear it. So I ended up cutting the mount off, and then I cut the mount down so it fitted underneath this bracing rod, welded it back in so the mount's now flush. And that brought it over, that probably more than 1/4 inch, probably about, I think it was 8 mil plate or something. So it brought it in 8 mil. I got plenty of clearance. And, yeah, and in the process too, because it's now fitting underneath, it's a tiny bit lower, only a couple of mil, but that's because of that I've managed to bring it forward another couple of inches, so I've got that a bit more horizontal. I sort of wanted it higher. Like this is why I brought this down. I might even bring it down a bit more yet. I wanted this point to be lower than this point when it's closed. So that allows your strut to start opening again when it closes, and it helps to hold it shut. But it's not quite doing that yet, so I might actually extend it down, another inch or so. I'll weld a bit onto this, like this bolted on, so I'll weld a bit onto this plate here, rethread it, move it down a bit. So, but yeah, haven't done that on the other side. This side's sort of just catching, not a lot. I was going to try and bend it and manipulate it, but after trying to do that on the other side, it didn't really work that well. And yeah, of course, got to make them the same now, so yeah, that's what I'll be doing is, cutting this mount off and fitting it underneath. So, and I'll bring it forward so the two are in line. But yeah, let's see where that's catching. Hopefully you saw where it's catching. But see how it's still sort of, it's not actually pulling it down. I want it to pull it down when it's shut. So, yeah. I mean, part of that's up here. There's a dag there holding up. And, but yeah. So yeah, if I extend the front of that bracket, that'll help pull it in tight. Anyway, I think I've pretty much shown you all I can show you now. I did get a whole lot of putty on my threaded bolts. I had one fall out actually. Didn't actually weld it that well. And I'll re-drill that from the other side. Yeah, if you get putty over bolt holes, don't try and punch it out, because like if I try and punch that hole through, I'll end up with a chunk taken off. Yeah, right around it. So yeah, I'll drill it, and I'll just get a hand drill and just hold it in my hand and just turn it, just drill it from the other side. Then I'll get a nice clean hole. But yeah, I got putty all over them. I thought about taping them up, but yeah, especially with the cheap shit mask tape that I've got at the moment, which is all I've got. Yeah, it's really hard sometimes to get masking tape off bolts. It just, but yeah, it occurred to me later, I've got electrical tape. I should have wrapped electrical tape around it. That would have worked. But yeah, ended up with putty all over that. I have had to get out a thread doll and clean all the putty off all the threads and whatever. So yeah, when I do the other side, I'll wrap some electrical tape around it so I don't get putty all over it. And yeah, I was hoping to have the putty work finished today, but yeah, it didn't happen. And other things that I had to attend to and whatever. But yeah, so I got to get this out of here in the morning. Yeah, sweep all the floor because I got to do an oil change on me forward. And I didn't want to sweep all the floor and then the very next day make a huge mess again. So, but anyway, it is what it is. Sometimes that's the way it goes. Yeah. Anyway, we'll leave it at that. So, yeah, thanks for watching, and hopefully catch you next time. Bye.